their behalf, or you can let them do it on their own. Uh, uh, so when they withdraw, the submission would remain in the system for the next 13 days, and if and provide them with the option to cancel their withdrawal. If they do not do it, then the system would automatically remove that submission from the system. uh, and then in the co-author settings, you can put a limit on the number of co-authors that can be added in a single submission. You can there's also an option for collaboration among the co-authors and the submitter. So if the submitter has enabled this feature while submitting the abstract, the co-authors can log into their dashboard and make changes to the abstract from their own dashboard. They do not have. So let's say if you have if the submission requires quite a few questions to be submitted, and if the submitter is not able to do it on her own, then they can add the co-authors, and each co-author would have their login credentials created automatically, and they would be emailed with the login credentials, and which they can use to log into the system and make and submit the rest of the questions that have been asked in the submission form. So this is how submitters and the co-authors can collaborate on submitting an abstract or editing an abstract. In the review submission settings, you can set the last date for submitting the reviews. There is no start date because the reviews, you can start assigning the abstracts as soon as they come into the system, and reviewers can start submitting the reviews right away. But there is a last date, so you can put in the last date here. There is also option to enable double blind review, where the system would hide authors' details from reviewers. Even if you uh, do not uh, even if you do not enable double blind review, you would still be able to choose what information should be displayed to the reviewers and what you want to hide. So let's say if you want to hide phone number or any other fields that you do not want them to see about the authors, you can simply select those fields and they would not be displayed to them. Unselect those fields that you do not want them to access. Similarly, you can also hide submission fields from reviewers. So if there are some of the information that you only want the admins to see, so you can simply select them all as those fields, and all these fields information would not be displayed to the reviewers when they access these abstracts from their dashboard. Uh, and so for assigning abstracts to reviews, there are three methods. One is the manual assignment. Second is assigning by importing the Excel file into the system. And the third is the automated assignment, where you can enable it from here, and the system can assign submissions either based on random assignment, or you can use the match topics option. So the system would match the topic of the abstract and the expertise of the reviewer. If they both are matched, then the system would assign that abstract to that reviewer. Apart from the topic match, they would also check for these criteria below, where you can set a limit on how many submissions can be assigned to each reviewer and how many reviews can be assigned to each submission. So when the system is assigning, so when there is a new abstract that is in the system would assign that abstract to reviewers based on these three criteria: match topic or random assignment, and then these two. And then if you also have enabled organization check, the system would ensure that if both the author of the submission and the reviewer, if they both belong to the same organization, then the system would not assign that abstract to the reviewer. Moving on to the bid settings, if you want, you can enable bidding option, where you can let the reviewers bid on abstracts, and they can select the expertise for all the abstracts. that are presented to them. They can either they can select high expertise, low expertise, medium expertise, and if they think there is a conflict between their interest and the abstract, they can also mark it as conflicted. So four options are there for each abstract that the reviewer can choose from. Rebuttal settings is where you can let the reviewers send feedback to authors, and you can also let authors reply to those feedback uh, and send it directly to the reviewers. But if you want, you can also not let the system send the feedback directly to the reviewers, but needs to be approved by one of the admins. And only then it would be sent to the author, to the reviewer. For so yeah, all these can be enabled from here. And then lastly, there is open review settings where you can uh, let the so if you have multiple reviewers on an abstract, you can let all of them uh, view the reviews submitted by other reviewers, and then make their reviews. But if you do not want them to be influenced by other reviewers reviews, you can let them submit the review and only let them read others reviews once they have submitted their own reviews. There's also one feature called online discussion where they can discuss the abstract with other reviewers before submitting the review. So this is something which has been used by some of the conferences, and the reviewers have actually liked using it because they get to discuss that abstract, um, and then they proceed with the review. So once you're done with the settings, you can then proceed to the submission types, where you would create all the types that you would have in for your CFP. You can create as many types as you want, including poster presentation, oral presentation, flash talk, symposia, panel, uh, all that. And uh, for each type, you can set the start date and end date. So apart from having a global start date and end date, you can also have a start date and end date for each submission type. So let's say if you have a poster submission type and you only uh, want to have up to 50 posters to be submitted, you can put in 15 here. And once that number is reached, once you have that many posters, the system would stop displaying this submission type uh, uh, from from the form. And there's also the start date and end date, which is the date until which this option would be displayed. And similarly, you can also put a limit on how many posters one can submit submit for this particular type.
I
Um,
just have a question. Could this all be for one event? So if we have like a poster session and then we have like a speaker session, are they all included in the one event contract or the one event quote that you sent?
this so in one single event you can have multiple submission types. So it doesn't matter how many submission types you have. What matters is how many submissions you're going to collect. So if you have purchased for 2,000 submissions, if you have the contract for 2,000 submissions, you can have 2,000 submissions in one single event, uh, with as many types as you might create. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so if I had, say we're going under like the 100 submissions and we had two types of submission types, then it would only be like 50 each, or would there be 100 each for each submission type?
No, so that would be 50 each for each submission type, because
Okay.
you only have 100 submissions in total for your contract. All right. So after you are done creating the submission types, you would then proceed with creating the topics and tracks and all other if you need tracks, you can create tracks. Otherwise, you can just ignore that and create the topics. And then lastly, you would go to the form builder tool to customize the form. This is where you can customize the submission form, proposal submission form, and review submission form. Uh, uh, so, so you just have to go to this tab here and click on proposal talk submission form, uh, and uh, so. So this is the types dropdown, which you have created from under submission types, and then you have topics that you have created from under submission topics, and then you have all these custom fields that you would like to create based on the set of questions you have in your submission form.
Can
So yeah, go ahead.
can this submission form could it be exported like once everyone submits? Could it be exported in a
Yeah, yeah,
Excel file?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm coming to that. I'm going to walk you through the submission platform from where you can manage all the submissions. So yeah, once I'm done with this, I'll walk you through that. So when creating the form, you can choose from up to 15 field types. You can have an input box. You can have yes, no question, multiple choice question, select drop down. So if you create a multiple choice question, you just have to select that option from here, and then create all the field options here. And on the right side, you would select the type for which this question is being created. You can either, by default, it would be set to all. So this question would then display under all the submission type, whichever submission type the author selects. But if you only want this particular field to be displayed in poster, let's say, then you would simply select poster, and this field would then only display when the author selects poster submission type in the front end. Now, let's say you can also create a different set of questions for different topics, just like the types. So you can either set it for all topics, or you can set it for a specific topic. Uh, Similarly, you can create a file upload field where you can select the file format that would be allowed, and you can also select the maximum file size limit from 1 MB to up to 700 MB for each file upload. You can also enable multiple file upload option. So if you want users to upload multiple files, you can select the number of files that they can upload. Uh, and this is where you can make the field as mandatory by simply switching this option here. And you can also create conditional logic fields where where the uh, child field would depend on the parent field. Let's say you have a question, uh, you have a question, yeah, like this: are you a nonprofit? If yes, tell us more about it. So if you select no, then nothing would happen. But if you select yes, then all these options would come up. So this is what we call as conditional logic. So you can create these conditional logic fields as well. uh, Once you're done creating the submission form, you would then go ahead and create the review submission form, or you can wait until you have collected the submissions and then proceed with the review submission uh, setup. Once that is done, you are now ready to launch your CFP. So you would go to the website and apps website designer, and there you can enable the link to uh, uh, to the CFP, uh, the abstract submission form, basically. So you would go to navigation. There you have all these links. This is the call for paper. You can also rename it to something else if you want, by simply changing the name here, and then click on save, and then you can click on the preview button, which would take you to the login page, because it needs you to be logged in to be able to submit the abstract. If you already have the credentials, you can log in with your credentials as an author. If you do not have it, you have to create an account by going to the account creation page. In the account creation page, you can put in all the questions that you want people to submit in their profile. that they want to display in their profile, like bio, first name, last name, email address, organization, affiliation, um, whatever custom fields that you want in there. You can create all of them in here, or you can simply limit it to first name, last name, and email address. These are the three things that are mandatory fields, and all the other custom fields can be created based on your requirements. This is the form they would use to create the accounts, and once they have an account, they would be logged in automatically. And if they are, since I already have an account, I would log in using my credentials here. Once I'm logged in, it would take me to my dashboard. This is how the dashboard looks like. This is where I can choose to display my profile publicly to the visitors. Now I can also choose to display my abstracts publicly in my profile. And this is the page where I can update my profile. And this is the my abstracts page where I can manage the abstracts that I have submitted and all the other abstracts where I am a co-author and have been allowed to view or edit those abstracts. So this is the current list of all the abstracts that I am managing as an author. So I would simply, if I want to edit a submission, I would simply click on the edit submission button, which would take me to the submission form. So if you notice, there is this panel ID column. So if I'm submitting a panel, uh, uh, this is the unique ID which would bind together all these three abstracts in that panel. So this is the panel intro, and these are the two abstracts within that panel. And these are all individual abstracts which do not have any panel ID. So, so there are different look and feel to individual abstracts and panel abstracts. This is the look and feel for the individual abstracts, where I have the progress bar here, where it says that abstract is saved but has not been submitted yet. And these are the buttons to submit the abstract, or I can also choose to save the abstract for now and submit them later. And this is the button to generate a PDF copy of the abstract. And then this is the form. At the top, it has the guidelines that you can display to the authors. And then you have the form with type and topics and title and summary. And the summary has a toolbar, a WYSIWYG editor, which you can let people use to format their summary with diagrams and all that. Then you can also use the special characters option to add special characters in their summary. And these are all custom fields that you can create based on your requirements. At the end of the page, there is the authors section where I can add co-authors. Um, if I think if I know that there is one of the co-authors is already in the system, I can search for their name. Let's say, so I would once I select their name, they would be automatically and the system would automatically populate the information with whatever information that the system already has. So it already would put in their name, email address, any other information that they had submitted when they were creating their profile. And then I can add more co-authors. And once I submit the abstract, there's another button called reorder authors would come up, which would let me change the ordering of the authors, uh, which uh, uh, which you can use if you think you have not entered the author's name in the right order. And you can also use this option here to change the primary author for this abstract, or you can select multiple presenting authors. uh, yeah, and so this is how the individual abstract would look like when you have a panel submission. This is how it would look like when you go to a panel introduction page. So the panel introduction is slightly different because it has panel intro and then all the submissions associated with that panel, submission 1, 2, and whatever the limit that you have set in the backend for how many submissions that they can add in a panel. So all those submissions would then display um, on the website. This is the button to add more submissions in this panel. This is the button to submit this panel intro. Uh, and the rest of the things are the same as you have in the individual submissions. Uh, and this is another abstract which is submitted and has been assigned to a review and is now currently awaiting decision from the decision making committee here. So the progress bar would automatically change based on the current status of the abstract. So once the abstract has been submitted, you as an admin would be able to access these information from the backend from under submissions and reviews platform. For that, you have to go to the submissions and reviews, click on manage submissions, and there you would see the list of all the submissions that you already have collected from authors. So these are all the current list of abstracts and have been accepted already. There are a few which has not been submitted yet. There are a few which is pending for assignment. You can click on the abstract title to view more details about it. In the submission section, it would display title, topic, type, summary, and all other fields that they have for which they have entered the information. And at the bottom, you would see the change tracker, which would record all the changes made to the submission by the authors, co-authors, reviewers, and administrators, along with the date and time when these changes have been made. Yeah, and then you have the authors tab, which you can use to find where it would display the authors, co-authors, primary authors, presenting authors, everyone. And then you have the reviews tab, which is where you can it would display the reviewers to whom this abstract has been assigned. uh, and you can also use this tab to manually select the reviewers to whom you want to assign this abstract. Um, and then you have the communications tab, which you can use to communicate with the authors and the reviewers of this abstract without having to manually email them. uh, Now, if you go back to the listing view, you would be able to do quite a few things in bulk. You do not have to go to each abstract one by one and assign the reviews. You can simply go to pending decision tab, click on select the abstract from the list. You can select up to 30 abstracts at once, and then you would click on assign reviews, and then select the reviewers to whom you want to assign these selected abstracts. And then you can click on assign to assign these selected abstracts to these reviewers. Now, once you have assigned these abstracts, the system would automatically send an email notification to these reviewers, notifying them of the new abstracts assigned to them, along with the link to go to the review submission page to start submitting the reviews. So you can choose to disable these notifications if you do not want them to receive any email, and you can manually notify them using the email broadcast tool, which we have provided here, which you can use to send an email campaign with a custom message to all the reviewers, letting them know that they have been assigned with these abstracts and they can now log into the system and start submitting their reviews. Once these abstracts have been assigned, the reviewers would go to the log into the dashboard, and this tab assign abstracts would display to them. So only those who are reviewers would see this tab. Those who are only authors would not be seeing this tab. So when I go to this tab, I would see the list of abstracts which have been assigned to me for review. And there's also the generate PDF button, which would let me generate a PDF copy of all the abstracts in one single PDF. So I can go through it and come back to the system later and submit the reviews for those abstracts. Uh, so let me go to one of these abstracts. So if you go to an abstract, it would display the abstract details on the left side and the submission review submission form on the right. On the left, it would also display the author's information if you have not enabled double-blind review. And on the right, along with the review submission form, it would also display uh, the other reviewers' reviews if you have enabled open review. Otherwise, it would not display any of these information. And this is the button to discuss this submission with other reviews. You just have to click on it, and it will open up a discussion form, just like a simple Facebook type commenting system, which you can use to submit comments to the other reviews. Now, and these are the guidelines that you can share, that you can put up to display to the reviewers, so they know how to submit the reviews. Now, once the reviews have been submitted, and you would know when they have been submitted, you would be notified as an whoever has been assigned with these apps with this part of the module, they would be receiving these notifications, and the system would calculate the average rating of the abstracts based on the individual ratings given by the reviewers for this abstract. So the current rating for this abstract is 6.4 out of 10, and this rating has been generated based on the cumulative sum of all the ratings given by the reviewers here. So there is only one reviewer here, so that is also the actual rating for the whole of the abstract. But if there are multiple reviewers, the system would calculate them uh, and then generate a sum. Uh, yeah, this one here. So this has a rating 8.1 out of 10, and it has multiple reviews, or almost you know, 7 or 8. So this person has given 7.9 out of 10. So this rating is generated based on the individual ratings given by the reviews for different questions. So this is the final rating given by this review, and then you have another reviews ratings 8.4 out of 10, and then this is the final rating uh, of the abstract. Uh, and this is the list of authors. And so now you can change the status of the abstract. So when you now going back to the hold on, let me sorry about that. So yeah, uh, this is the actions drop down where you can export the submissions into CSV. You can choose to export submissions with the primary authors only, or you can choose to export submissions with all the authors. There's also an option to import the submissions into the platform, into Dryfta. If you already have a list of submissions, you can import them into Dryfta using this tool here. There's filters to filter submissions by topic, type, status. Um, any other custom fields that you have created would also display, so you can filter them by these fields. Let's say if you want to see how many of them have actually uploaded the presentation file, so you would simply select uploaded or not uploaded, and based on that it would display those abstracts. Now, when you are ready to make a decision on these abstracts, you can use the bulk update tool to change the status for these abstracts. So you just have to select the abstracts, click on bulk update, and then change the new status for these abstracts. So if you select accept, then all these abstracts would be accepted and the authors would be notified. So they are notified based on the current status of the abstract, and you can customize the automated email and for each status, for acceptance, for rejection, uh, for confirmation of the submission. For all of these, there are distinct email notification that you can customize from under uh, automated notifications here. So let me take you. So this is a confirmation email which is sent out automatically on submission, and you can customize the look and feel. You can make it more dynamic by including the abstract title, topic, and track, and all of the custom shortcodes that we have provided here on the right side. You can also add the logo of your event. You can add some additional text along with the default message. So all that can be customized and saved, and so every time there is a new submission submitted by an author, they would receive this notification automatically. Uh, do you have any questions so far? Let me know.
Can you go back to
I have a question.
Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, so for the reviewers, is there a separate form that they would register to be a reviewer?
Good question. You can either create a reviews account on your own by going to manage contacts, and there you can create the account for the reviewers and send them an email with the login credentials, so they can use those credentials to log into the system. Or you can let them register on their own using the review registration form. So to create the form, you have to go to the form builder tool, and there you can, just like you can customize the account creation form for the authors so they can create the accounts, you can also customize the review registration form for reviewers to create their accounts.
Okay, that's all part of the same platform, the abstract submission platform.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you had any I think you also had some questions.
Can you go to the main page for where the abstract submitters would hit first? Knowing that we have a separate registration, so we would link them from our registration site over to the abstract submission page. So
yeah, so initially they would all be taken to the login page to log into the system, but if they do not have an account, they would be taken to the account creation page to submit to create their accounts. So these are two landing pages that they would either go to. If they're logged in, they
so
would.
there's no general like, okay, here's the conference and the abstract submission and then a create login. You have to do the create login first.
Oh, there is a page. So you can create a custom page where you can put in the links. So I can give you one example, one real example here. So this is this is built on Dryfta, and this is abstracts and papers, call for paper abstract submission. So you can create different links to different pages. You can create a custom page. You can then create a page to list all the types you are having for this conference, for which they can submit the abstracts. You can put in all the details just like they have done it here. And then you can at the bottom or at the top you can put in the link to the submit abstracts, and you can link that to the submission form, so they can directly be taken to the form. if they are logged in, and if they are not logged in, they would be taken to the login form.
I see, okay. So that would be really the only tab that we have if we don't have,
If-
use this for registration, right? That would be the only
Right,
tab.
yeah, if you do,
Contact us, I guess.
that's true, yeah.
Okay. Is that clear, Brett, or do you have other questions?
That's clear.
Okay, cool.
And then you can also use the reporting tool to generate custom reports. And you can use the email campaigns tool to send reminders, or you can create email segments of, let's say, uh, reviewers who have not submitted their reviews yet, or if you want, you can also create a list of the authors who have initiated a submission, but they never submitted their submissions. So you can send a reminder to those authors. You can send a reminder to reviewers to submit their reviews. So just have to go to segment, create a segment with those reviewers who did not submit their reviews. Uh, and and you can select their first name, last name, email address. So this is how you can create the segments, and then come back to the email campaign tool, create a new campaign, um, put in your message, select that segment to whom you want to send this campaign, and that's it. Your campaign would be sent. Or if you want, you can also schedule this campaign for a certain date and time. So just have to select the date, and this campaign would then be triggered on that particular date and time. You can also enable recurring, if you want to send the reminder every day or week or month, every month, until the last date of the submission. Uh, and if to view the campaign reports to see how many of them have opened these emails and how many of them have clicked on it, you can go to the campaign reports tool, and there you can click on view report to see the list of those who have received this email campaign, and those who have opened it and those who have clicked on it. This is the reporting tool. This is where you can see the list, create custom reports uh, of for multiple things. You can have a report of all the reviews. You can have a report of all the primary authors, presenting authors. You can have a report of all the reviewers with their reviews and ratings that they have given for these abstracts. You can also see a list of reports, list of abstracts which they have reviewed and the ones that they have not reviewed. So all of those reports can be generated from here. And lastly, when you go to manage contacts, this is where you have access to all the contacts, including your speakers, your authors, your reviewers, and also the administrators. So um, when you search for a specific viewer, you just have a specific contact. You just have to enter their name, or you can click on the name of their name, and it would take you to their detailed view. Uh, and under actions drop down, you can export all your contacts into CSV. You can send an email campaign to the selected contacts from the list. You can send a welcome email to them. You can also use the merge contacts. So because there are times when someone would create multiple accounts with different abstracts being submitted in different accounts. So you can use the merge contacts tool to merge them into into one single account. Uh, uh, um, and this is the button to add new contacts. You can or you can use the import tool to import your contacts and your reviewers and your authors into the system using with 300 contacts being imported at once. Uh, um, And this is how the profile would look like in the backend uh, for each of your authors and reviewers. So this person, she is also a reviewer and she is also an author in the system. So when you go to her profile, you can see the information she has submitted, and as an admin, you can also make changes to this information. And on the left side, it would display the buttons to enable their public profile. You can choose to display their submissions publicly, and you can assign multiple roles to them: reviewers and authors and speakers, moderators, whatever roles that you are using in this system. And on the stream right, you have a timeline where you can see every single activity that this person has performed on the system, including the abstract she has submitted, on the reviews she has submitted, uh, uh, all the emails she has received. Everything would be recorded in her. Documents would list every document she has uploaded either through her profile or through the abstracts she has submitted. Uh, and the submission would list all the submissions she has submitted as an author, or the submissions in which she is a co-author. The reviews tab is where it would list the reviews she has been assigned with. The reviews tab is only displayed if the person is a reviewer. If she is not a reviewer, then this tab will not display. This is the tab where you can see the submissions assigned to her, and the ones which are marked with the checkbox means this abstract has already been reviewed by her. And you can also choose to unassign this abstract from this review's profile, or you can choose to resend an email if she did not receive the email for some reason. You can also assign abstracts right from this page. You do not have to go to the submissions page to assign abstracts. You can just go to a reviews profile and start assigning the abstracts uh, to her by simply selecting all these abstracts. Um, and the email tab to send an individual email to this contact. And the rest of the tabs would not display in your system because you are not going to use these modules. So yeah, I think this is it. If you have any further questions, you can let me know.
I have a few questions, and I'm first of all, in terms of admin users, I mean, I have two computers that I'm working off of, and so if I'm one admin, am I able to log in? Is it like just per machine, or is that one person or one email address or user ID, whatever, that can log in as an
No,
admin?
you can log in with one account in multiple devices. You do not it does not check whether you have logged in to a system or three or one. So you just the demarcation is based on the email address. So if if you want, you can have multiple people use your account to log in with that same account and do their thing. The problem there is that you can define different roles for different admins, and you can also put a check on which admin can have access to what modules. But if you're using, if all your admins are using one single email, one single account, uh, you would not be able to determine who has done what, and so because everyone has access to everything. So either you can have that, or if you do not have anything like accountability on who has done what, in that case you can use one single admin role for all of your admin users. Just to have a look on how you can define which person has access to what modules. So this is the admin role, and this role is currently limited to contacts. They cannot access any other modules in the system. There is they can make changes to the they can view all users, but they cannot make any changes to their profile. But they are there's another admin which to whom you can have access uh, to be able to make changes to the user profile. Then you can have another admin who would have access to the submission manager and website builder tool, so they can manage the submission, they can change the types, they can make edits to to all those submissions, they can see the reviews submitted by the reviewers, they can assign abstracts reviews. So all those row activities, all those tasks can be controlled by roles. But for that, you would need multiple admins, obviously.
Okay, so I'm just looking at our, the quote that we received. And I'm just wondering if we could get an updated quote, because we're looking at having, I mean, 2 to 3 admin users. I'm thinking probably 2 admin users and 8 reviewers rather than 25.
Okay.
Let's see. And Amy, Sabrina, am I missing anything else on the old, from the old quote that we would want to have adjusted? Oh, and the platform setup too, like that's just, that's for like the event management, which we only want we're only looking at the abstracts.
Yeah, that is not mandatory. So yeah, we can skip that.
Okay. So Amy and Sabrina, is there anything else that I'm missing?
I think those are the main things, Sabrina.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yep, that's all I have too.
So can you please send me an email with the updated number of items for these different admins and reviewers, so I can then prepare the new quote.
Sabrina, you can do that.
I think that I already updated the one with, I guess, 2 to 3 admins and then 8 reviewers.
Okay, all right, okay.
But I'll be in contact just in case we need another one. But thank you, this was really helpful. And thank you for recording this session as well.
Sure, I'll send the recording to you. All right, so this is it. Let me know if you have any further questions through email.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
This was thorough, and I definitely have a clear understanding of what we would be getting and from this platform and what all the different the functionality. So I really appreciate this.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so we'll be in touch, and Sabrina's going to follow up, and then we will talk amongst ourselves and get back to you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah.
Great,
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, thank
you. Can you send the recorded file so we can share it with our colleague?
Yeah, I'll send it to you as soon as I have it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.